from Milwaukee. We welcome you from Miller Park. A lot of rain in the area. The roof is all closed up. We're nice and dry inside Miller Park, ready for the Marlins and the Brewers and Ryan Braun. A little history yesterday. 251 career home runs as a member of the Brewers. He is tied with Robin Yount. D. Gordon and the Miami Marlins in town. The first of three here tonight. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from Miller Park. Great to have you with us. We're looking forward to this matchup. The Brewers coming off 3 straight wins against the Phillies. Now the Marlins are here. Very disappointing season for them, just like the Brewers. But there is a bright spot now, and that is Ryan Braun. He's having a very good year. And, Rock, he matched Robin Yount's home run franchise mark yesterday, and you figure there's a lot more to come.
Yeah, he's still got a lot more games left to go, and it's got to be gratifying for Ryan Braun to realize that he is still one of the best hitters in the game. All that happened to him back in 2012, I think a lot of people are starting to forget about that, given the fact that he's been able to continue to hit the baseball the way he did early in his career. 21 home runs. He ranks amongst league leaders in that category, and he's certainly got a lot of time left to kind of add on to that home run career mark. So Ryan Braun continues, as he said, if he's healthy, he's going to be productive.
Yeah, think about this. He's still got 6 years left on that contract as well. How many will he hit? Starters on a bit of a roll with the Phillies. Now they'll give the ball to Matt Garza. Telly Hughes has more on Garza, who gets the call against the Fish here tonight.
Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places. And by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. Matt Garza has been getting it done over his last 5 starts, 4 of which have been quality starts. Garza is getting geared up for the series opener against the Marlins. Hello, everyone. I'm Telly Hughes. All eyes will be on Matt Garza tonight to see if he can continue to get stronger and stronger as he has since coming off of disabled list 5 starts ago. He'll also look to follow suit pitching staff as a whole that has been rock solid. The starters played a big part in only allowing 4 runs in the 3-game sweep over the Phillies. Willie Peralta picked up the win on Friday with 7 strong. Jimmy Nelson went 6 2/3 with no decision before Taylor Youngman got the win yesterday. And Craig Counsell says for Garza, it's all about confidence carrying over.
A veteran player, they're always confident. Well, and I think for everybody needs confidence, you know, and I think Matt went through a little stretch where, you know, when you don't get good results, you know, your confidence, no matter who you are, it gets a little shaken, and now he's, you know, had some success and feels good, and I think he's got a lot of confidence going when he takes the mound.
Coming up, can the Crew hook the fish and reel in a season-high tying 5th straight home win? BA and Rocker back after the break with the first pitch and call. Next on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Braun trying to deliver in the 10th. All tied at 1. Braun swings, line drive, deep left field, and it's gone! A grand slam! The Brewers win a thriller! All right, here we go with Ryan Braun. The pitch to him, swinging a drive!
Break-even pitch. Breaking ball, a drive, hit back into deep center field, and Ryan Braun has tied the club record.
Oh, those are great memories. Some of the great home runs in the career of Ryan Braun. And with one more, he will stand alone as the franchise leader, sitting on 251 career home runs. He figures to hit a lot more, right? Brewers baseball tonight on Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. Roof is all closed up. Got a lot of rain in the area. Severe thunder showers coming through Milwaukee over the last few hours. 72 degrees outside Miller Park. Feels a little bit warmer than that inside Miller Park tonight. Dan Jennings from general manager to the manager spot in uniform for the first time in his career. And he is 31-48 as the Marlins skipper. It has been a very difficult season for the Miami Marlins. They open up play today 23 games under 500. Here are the Marlins, brought to you by Potawatomi. Dee Gordon leading off. You got Ichiro in right field batting second, Martin Prado at third. The middle of the other order is Justin Bourne, Derek Dietrich, and Marcell Ozuna. JT Realmuto will catch tonight in bat eighth. Adeni Echeverria will hit eighth, and Justin Nicolino rounding it out. And on the mound for the Fish, Matt Garza gets the ball against the Marlins tonight, partner.
Hey, you see his numbers overall, 6-12 with a 482 earned run average, but you look a little bit deeper. Since he's come off the disabled list, he's 2-2 in 5 starts and a very good 256 earned run average, making start number 8 against the Marlins. Currently has a 3-2 record against the Fish.
So Garza, since coming back, says he feels healthy, feels strong, and it has shown up in his statistics. It has shown up in his stuff. It is just his general presence on the mound, Rock. I guess it's one thing when you're trying to pitch with an injury like Garza was, had a little tightness in the shoulder, didn't have that air of confidence that he has recently since coming back. First ball swinging Dee Gordon, and away we go from Miller Park. Great to have you with us tonight. Brewers coming off a sweep of the Philadelphia Phillies after getting swept in Chicago, so feels good to get back to winning ways for Craig Counsell and the crew. Brewers opening up play today 17 games under. And these are two teams that don't have anything to play for as far as postseason goes, but there are a lot of players up and down each roster that do have a lot to play for, and you're trying to establish who's going to be part of the mix for next season. So these can be some entertaining games, even though the records and postseason contention are not on the line.
Yeah, Dee Gordon has a lot to play for. He's looking to win a batting title. He's 7 points behind Paul Goldschmidt, hitting .330. Second in the league in batting average and first in hits. Dee Gordon with 143 hits this year.
Yeah, that leads all of baseball. An all-star this year for the second straight season, and he hits that one into left field. Going back is Davis, and that's how the night begins for Matt Garza. Fly ball out to left. How about the Brewers defensively, Rock?
Yeah, the Menards defense for Craig Counsell's Brewers tonight. Davis, Peterson, and Braun in the outfield. It's been pretty consistent with that threesome out in the outfield. Perez, Segura, Herrera gets a start at second base. No Scooter Gennett. With the left-hander on the mound for the Marlins, Adam Lind at first, and Lucroy, as usual, behind home plate.
Adrian Johnson will call the balls and strikes. There's the crew chief there. Bill Miller, Ben May, and Doug Eddings on the bases with Miller. 4-man umpiring crew. And here is Ichiro, and a bouncer. Tough hop for Lind. A race to the bag, and retires Ichiro. One pitch for Garza to get the future Hall of Fame member.
He's still getting his hits as Ichiro just keeps racking up more hits. And Adam Lind deciding to play the tricky hop as opposed to charging the baseball, but able to make the play himself.
Ichiro at 41 years of age. He doesn't have the blinding speed that he once had. Lind beats him to the bag. Ichiro just had a milestone himself. He recorded career hit number 4192 and 4193 on Saturday in St. Louis. And those numbers are combined between his Japanese major league years, 9 of them, and his major league years here with various clubs, including the Mariners and Yankees. Nearly 3,000 hits here in Major League Baseball. But he passed Ty Cobb for all-time professional hits now that he's gone over the 4192 mark.
Yeah, there's a spot waiting for him in Cooperstown, you figure. I mean, you talk about an impact player in his era. Nobody better as far as getting hits. You know, batting average, and had well over 200 hits a number of times, and some kind of hitter still doing it.
Yeah, one of the great names in the game, the one-namer, Ichiro. Martin Prado lines one to left, and that's a nice, easy start for Matt Garza. Just what he was looking for. 1, 2, 3, the Marlins go in order. Now the Brewers are coming up. against the Miami Marlins, and left-hander Justin Nicolino. Craig Counsell also in his first year as skipper. You got two managers here in this series that have not managed before until this season, and both getting their first managerial jobs in the big leagues. Potawatomi batting order for the Brew Crew: Segura, Lucroy, and Braun at the top. Lynn, Davison, Herrera in the middle of the order. Counsell has Perez, Peterson, and Garza rounding it out. And Rockets, a 23-year-old left-hander, Justin Nicolino. What do you have on this youngster?
Well, made his major league debut back on June 20th, and boy, did he impress. He beat the Cincinnati Reds. 7 innings, no runs. He got sent down. He got called back up on August 8th. A no decision against the Red Sox, only making his 4th start this year. He was 7-7 with a .352 down at AAA.
First time I've ever used the word youngster on the air, by the way. I'm officially moving into the old man club.
You feeling old now?
Yeah. I figured you need a little company.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
So Nicolino, part of that big trade with the Blue Jays and the Marlins a few years back prior to the 2013 season. A haul of players going from Miami to Toronto. Big name players. Joe Johnson and Jose Reyes, Mark Burley. And a lot of young prospects coming back to the Marlins. Nicolino was one of them. Echeverria, Henderson Alvarez, Jeff Mathis. So they loaded up on prospects, and some of these guys starting to surface in the big leagues now, and Nicolino is the latest. Segura back in the leadoff spot here tonight. A little flare into right, slicing. Ichiro with room for out number 1.
Well, the Marlins defense. The Marlins have been playing some pretty good defense this year. They might not have a great record, but they've committed the 3rd fewest errors in all the National League. 57 errors is all. As you take a look at it, up the middle, they are outstanding. Adeiny, Hechavarria, and D. Gordon, very good up the middle. Hechavarria with 6 errors at shortstop. D. Gordon only 4. So they are solid at short and second.
Now these two have a chance each to win Gold Gloves this year. Echeverria, the shortstop on the left, if you are into and believe in defensive metrics, he is one of the great shortstops in all of baseball. Actually grades out higher than Andrelton Simmons, the reigning Gold Glove Award winner of the Atlanta Braves. Here's Jonathan Lucroy, and he takes a ball low. 2-0 on Lucroy.
Yeah, a lot of different ways you can evaluate, your defense, throwing arm, range, all that kind of stuff. Bottom line, he's a good one over there at short. Both of them, he and Gordon, great range.
Echeverria coming with Nicolino to the Marlins. And now together once again in the big leagues. Lucroy into right, Ichiro going back, and with room, out number 2. Couple of fly ball outs to right field for Nicolino. And that'll set up Ryan Braun coming off his great performance yesterday. And what a moment it was, with an exclamation point on a curveball from Aaron Harang. Ryan Braun ties Robin Yount for the franchise home run mark. 251 in the career of Ryan Braun. That was his 21st of the season.
Well, for the dramatic as usual, right? I mean, a grand slam to tie the kid. Not a better way to get it. Gave the Brewers that 6-0 lead yesterday.
That was part of a 5-run 5th inning. The Brewers won 6-1 over the Phillies, making a winner out of Taylor Youngman, who pitched well again. But Braun was the headliner last night, and so now with every home run from here on out, he'll establish a new franchise record. That was his 4th career grand slam. I'll never forget that one we showed you in the tees against Jesse Chavez of the Pirates. And that was the one that really stuck out. That one actually ended up on a television commercial, and it helped the Brewers make it to the postseason. That was a late September grand slam and extra innings back in 08.
And set up his dramatic game in the final game of the season against the Cubs. They did not hit that grand slam. Would have meant nothing that last game. Yeah, but you talk about that game yesterday. The Brewers had a 6-0 lead going into the 9th inning. They won 6-1, and K-Rod picked up a save.
Yeah, you don't see many saves with a 5-run differential, but tying run was on deck, and so that was a no-brainer for Craig Counsell. That's an easy save. The easiest they come, I'm guessing, for a closer.
Well, it's only two hitters. I mean, 2 hitters and 2 home runs. It's tied. So interesting game yesterday.
Adam Lind takes a strike. Frankie picked up his 29th save. That's 29 in a row this season for Francisco Rodriguez. Only Mark Melancon has more consecutive saves. K-Rod with 34 straight going back into last year. Wave and a miss. Lind out in front, and it's 0-2.
And Nicolino not a hard thrower by any stretch. I mean, he tries to keep the ball down. That's the key to his success. Red Sox knocked him around pretty good his last time out. Fastball, breaking pitch, and a changeup for Nicolino.
That one missed. Nicolino trying to hit the edge with a fastball. Lind's got a very good eye. You don't see him strike out looking very often. He's had a high on base percentage this year. He draws his walks. He's hit for average, a .282 coming in, .361 on base.
And he's been swinging the bat pretty well against lefties. That's why Craig Counsell has him in the lineup. Got a hit late in yesterday's ball game off a left-handed pitcher. Hit one hard into left field.
That's goal accomplished for Adam Lind. He stated as one of his goals when he arrived in Milwaukee, traded from the Blue Jays in the Marco Estrada deal. He wanted to prove that he was an everyday player once again and wanted to stay healthy and stay on the field. I think those two have gone hand in hand during his years with the Blue Jays. But he has been, for the most part, healthy. The back injury that he has suffered throughout his Toronto career each year has only sprung up on just a few occasions, and no trips to the disabled list for Lind. Chopper up the middle. Here's Echeverria, and that will retire the side. Nicolino off to a scoreless start. Marlins coming up. We go to the second. The Marlins, the uniforms were different. The moment will stand forever. Craig Counsell scoring the World Series winning run 1997, then Florida Marlins. And that play gets a lot of the attention, but remember, it was Counsell's sacrifice fly off Jose Mesa that forced extra innings. in that game. So the Marlins aren't even there without Craig Counsell. What a year. He was just traded that year from the Rockies to the Marlins, and that is an iconic moment, not just in Marlins history, but in baseball history, and that belongs solely to Craig Counsell.
A couple of World Series rings on his trophy case, and talking about a guy that got the most out of his ability, right? A smart player. He worked hard, and obviously a student of the game, or he wouldn't be sitting in the spot where he's at right now as Brewers manager.
Having a chat there with his bench coach, Jerry Narron. Justin Bour on the ground to Herrera. Nice easy hop for him. And there is out number one. Well, there's been some news on the Brewers managerial front. Former manager Ron Roenicke agreed to become the third base coach of the Los Angeles Dodgers today. And that's an interesting move. Craig and Davey touched on it in our Brewers Live pregame show, but Roenicke, instead of sitting out the rest of the year, decided he had had enough of hanging out at home and watching baseball after
R&R, too much R&R, right?
Successful stint on MLB Network. He did a little television last week, and Don Mattingly called him up, and they made a move there at third base coach. Rock, you're a contending team, and you're making a move here in mid-August.
Man, you get a great baseball guy over at third base, and the Dodgers have a 2.5 game lead over the Giants. I guess he had enough of the couch, right?
Had enough.
Hanging out, back into baseball. He belongs in uniform, and I would imagine he's going to get another opportunity to manage at some point.
I hope he does. He's a good man, great baseball man. We certainly enjoyed our time here with him, and it's an organization he's very familiar with, the Dodgers. Pop up into foul territory, and right there is Perez to make the play. Derek Dietrich is retired. So Craig Counsell replaced Ron Roenicke. Dan Jennings replaced Mike Redmond. That was shortly after the Counsell move. Pat Murphy, who was Counsell's college coach at Notre Dame, replacing Bud Black, and then Pete Mackanin taking over for Ryan Sandberg. And we just saw Mackanin in the Phillies, and it feels like, you don't know where these organizations are going, but the three next to Counsell, I wouldn't say are on firm footing. I would say Craig Counsell is probably the safest manager in all of baseball, because his owner, Mark Atanasio, said when we're going through a GM search, which the Brewers are going through now, they're going to have to be able to connect with Craig Counsell. He's our manager.
Yep. Yeah, pretty good chance that those three are going to be replaced during the offseason. I don't think that's going to be it either. I think there's going to be a lot of managerial openings. And you wonder how much experience is going to play a part in what's going on with some of these new teams hiring managers. The trend is, guys that haven't been out of the game all that long getting an opportunity, and it seems to be working, at least at this point.
Well, both of these guys came from the front office to the managerial seat. Dan Jennings was the general manager. Imagine Doug Melvin leaving the GM post and turning into the Brewers manager. So that's what that would have been like. Jennings, a longtime scout, one of the real great guys in baseball, and a terrific executive. But as a manager, the book is still out. Swing and a miss. Ozuna strikes out Garza. Off to a nice start. 6 up, 6 down. That was his first strikeout.
T-shirt. Friday on tap at Miller Park as the Brewers take on the division rival Cincinnati Reds on Friday, August 28th. And all fans get a free Brewers T-shirt courtesy of a Rise Health Plan. To reserve your spot, call 902-4000 or go to brewers.com today.
I think that's my favorite one so far, Rock. Established 1970. I like that. It's got a little bit of nostalgia there.
You said that last time, didn't you?
Well, they keep outdoing themselves.
They do.
Chris Davis leads off at a base hit. A liner into left. Chris Davis on the first pitch from Nicolino. First hit of the ball game for either team.
And that's the key. Make him get his pitches up in the strike zone. That was a mistake by the left-hander. And got to take advantage of those pitches that he doesn't get around the knees. When he's around the knees, he's been pretty good. He gets in trouble when he elevates the fastball. Doesn't have enough velocity to get away with it.
So into the stretch goes Nicolino. He did walk Ryan Braun last inning. And a scoreless inning. Here is Elian Herrera, the switch hitting second baseman today. With the stylish socks, Elian Herrera. He wears it well.
That's going to be a trend. You're going to see more of that, I think.
Especially if he keeps getting hits.
I think other guys. I mean, you know how the whole throwback stuff is starting to come back into style, old school.
Mm-hmm. Well, they say trends and styles, come around every couple of decades or so. So hang in there, Rock. You got a lot of clothing that's going to jump right back into style shortly.
So you beat me to it. I was going to say the same thing. It's nice to be the play-by-play guy, isn't it?
Ichiro.
You know what, though? You're right.
He just goes with the black socks, does Ichiro. He's always worn them that way. Now, Herrera's got the old-fashioned stirrup.
By the way, talking about clothes, nice job today, by the way, you and I.
Oh, okay.
Blue shirt, pink tie, khakis.
Brown shoes.
Look at this.
Our director said some derogatory things about us, about how we look like, what did he say, some camp counselors or something like that?
I don't know what he meant by that.
I don't know about that. I think that's standard issue broadcaster attire with the pink ties.
Right. Yeah.
Especially after the pink tie event last night with Doug Melvin.
It went very well. Doug and Ellen Melvin's event. Raised about $25,000. Breast cancer awareness and research.
There's a throw that hits Davis. That one was headed for the sidewall over there. Saved him an error. Kick ball, he would have been out.
That's a pretty big lead. A step off move and not even close. Had it not hit him, that would have been an error.
2 balls and a strike. And another check. Now the Brewers have 3 here at Miller Park remaining, and then there will be an off day on Thursday. Remember, Wednesday's game is a day game. Thursday off, and then the Brewers go to Washington, D.C. and the struggling Washington Nationals, who have lost 6 straight. And speaking of managerial hot seats, Matt Williams is experiencing one right now for the Nationals.
The Nationals all of a sudden are a game under 500. Who would have thought?
That's
right?
hard to believe.
Early in the year.
That kind of talent on their roster. It's just not clicking, though. The Mets still lead the National League East 4.5 games, even though they just got swept by the Pirates.
Think anybody's going to slow down the Royals?
Royals and the Cardinals. Just a runaway train.
Yeah, Cardinals only have a 5-game lead, though, over the Pirates. The Kansas City has a 12-game lead.
Royals won again last night on a walk-off against the Angels. Well, let's see if he checked his swing. He did not. Bill Miller rings him up. A swinging strike 3 for Elian Herrera. And the first out of the inning.
Yeah, little pitch going off the outside corner. That doesn't look like he held up. Good call at home plate or at first base.
So one away. Davis still at first after a leadoff single. Here's Hernan Perez now. And he swings away at the first pitch. Foul ball into the seats. Interesting road trip coming up for the Brewers. DC and then Cleveland. Got another interleague matchup, but just a 2-game series in Cleveland with an off day prior to it. A lot of off days for the Brewers right now. They're
4 of them in 12 days. That's a lot.
Going to allow their bullpen to maybe be used a little differently. Council can afford to get some log a few extra innings, or maybe multiple innings for some of his top relievers if he wants to. Perez hits that one deep into center field. Did he get it? That is way back, and it's off the wall. Davis running all the way will stop at third, and Perez almost hit one out of here. Would have been just his second home run of his career. Hit it to the deepest part of the ballpark in left center.
Well, it sounded good off the bat. It sounded like it might get out of here, but there's not enough oomph. He got it on the sweet spot. It gets it high off of that center field fence. Ozuna played it well, holding Davis to third base. Actually hit the bottom of the fence. Got the baseball in quickly. Showing good power. Boy, he's looked good at the plate.
Now, it's one guy that's made a name for himself, as has this guy, Shane Peterson. Trying to find a few diamonds in the rough here of this rough season. Peterson swinging away at the first pitch, bobbled by Echeverria, and he can't make the play.
Wow.
And the sure-handed shortstop of the Marlins cannot get it out. A run comes in to score. An RBI for Peterson, and still 2 runners on base.
Yeah, just when we got done talking about how solid they've been defensively, error number 7 for Echeverria. An easy play, rolls up the glove, and I think if he gets it the first time on the ground, he's going to be able to get the out. Let's see, he lifts his head. No, yeah, a little bit, and St. Peterson safe at first.
That is a rare error for Echeverria. 7 errors for a shortstop who plays every day in mid-August. That is tremendous defense. But Peterson is aboard on an E6. He'll get an RBI. 1-0 Crew. Here's Matt Garza with runners at the corners. Shows bunt late and then takes a ball. Well, a good bunt here, and you can steal a run, but it has to be a bunt toward the third baseman. And that's a bunt rolling foul toward the third baseman.
Yeah, because you bunt it toward third base, you can, Perez can creep down the line as far as Prado gets down the line. Bohr has to hold the bag at first base, or he's going to get a late break. So I guess whatever Garza feels most comfortable in doing, the key is to stay out of the double play. Get Peterson at second base for Segura coming up at the top of the order.
You'd rather see a strikeout as opposed to a double play. Garza will try to get a bunt down and advance Peterson. Prado's in a couple of steps, and Garza swings and misses. So not bunting.
Yeah, had an off-speed pitch and just a little bit out in front, or not just a little bit, a lot. I think he's going to be bunting again here, I would imagine.
That Cedar, he won't even bother with the signals. He's just going to tell him what he wants.
I wonder what Garza was covering his mouth.
Okay, Eddie. Gotcha.
I can understand why Eddie doesn't want anybody to see what he's saying.
He shows bunt, and he bunts this one fair, and Perez creeping down. Throw to first. Ooh. And now a snap throw back to third. Garza had a chance at a hit there if he runs. I think he just assumed it was going to be an out.
I'll tell you, Perez played that one just about as well as you could. I mean, he was creeping in as far as Prado got off down the line, and I think when Prado decided to go to first base, I think Perez was thinking he might fake a throw, and if he does that, I'm going to be an easy out. You see right there, actually the pitcher had the baseball. He went back. There was nobody covering. He could have stayed right there. Good base running, just not able to score.
And if Garza runs, he's got himself a hit. Second and third now, 2 outs. Counsell gets what he wants out of it, a sacrifice bunt. By the way, Garza leads the team in that category with 7. 2 on for Segura. And a chopper, D. Gordon. And he'll make the play to end the inning. Brewers strand a pair, but they get one. Shane Peterson with an RBI. 1-0 Crew.
Hotel and Casino as Matt Garza gets set for his 3rd inning of work. Brewers with a 1-0 lead, and over Matt Garza's last 5 starts since coming off the disabled list, he has 4 quality starts. He has a 2-2 record with a 2.56 earned run average, and that has lowered his overall ERA to 4.82, which is the lowest since June 11th. And talking to Craig Counsell before today's game about Matt Garza and tonight's start, he said it's a lot to do with confidence, and that's a word that you don't hear when guys have pitched on some of the biggest stages in baseball like Matt Garza has throughout his career. But he said when anyone is on the mound and anyone is in a professional sport, confidence is certainly a key in their production as well. So B.A., he said that he feels like his confidence is getting better and greater with each start.
Yeah, and I think it runs parallel with health too, right? When you're feeling healthy and you can do the things that Matt Garza can do, then that certainly gives you confidence with that kind of stuff. He's always had great stuff. He's not necessarily always been healthy. And to his credit, he does try to pitch through injuries. And the last couple of years he's been a Brewer, you know, he tried to pitch through an oblique situation last year, tried to pitch through a little shoulder tightness this year, knowing that the Brewers were struggling and needed that spot in the rotation. But at some point, it's best to just shut it down and regroup.
Man, you know when Garza's feeling good, and all pitchers, when they start throwing fastballs on the inside part of the plate. I mean, Garza's been very effective since his return from the disabled list in pitching inside to both right-handers and left-handers. And you add the fact that his curveball's been much better since his return. So you got 2 pitches working for him that really weren't there for him before he went on the DL.
Well, right now it's Garza and then 4 homegrown starters in the rotation. This is our first look at JT Realmuto, the Marlins catcher, and there's a lot of favor going around for this guy. They like him a lot. 24-year-old catcher. JT Realmuto.
Yeah, they like the way he handles himself around at home plate. I mean, calling a game, he hasn't been catching all that long.
And he lines one to right, a base hit. First hit of the game for the Marlins. After 6 in a row retired by Garza. Long at bat there with Realmuto, and now he's aboard for Echeverria.
Now got a fastball out over the plate. Lucroy wanted it down and away, and Garza got it upstairs. Realmuto able to hit it hard into right. Yeah, good piece of hitting.
So a man on for Echeverria. And he lines one in the gap. Right center field. Braun able to cut it off. Realmuto is on his way to third. And on 2 pitches, the Marlins have a couple of hits and runners at the corners with nobody out.
Yeah, a couple of fastballs, both out over the plate. Echeverria does the same thing that the guy in front of him does, pounds it into right field. Tried to come inside, left it out over the plate. So both pitches out over the plate. Realmuto they tried to catch on the outside corner. Echeverria inside. Missed his spot.
Extends his hitting streak to 11 in a row, which ties a career high. And that'll allow the pitcher Nicolino to drop a bunt down. Now the Marlins are in the same spot the Brewers were last inning, except nobody out, and that one is bunted fair. And Lucroy wanted to go to second. I think Garza was standing in his way. Something distracted Lucroy from going to second base. They might have had a chance at a double play there.
I'm not sure what it was. It could have been a couple of things. That might not have had a handle the first time. And I mean, bunts it about 2 feet in front of home plate. I guess it was Garza. He was standing straight up, and by the time Lucroy double clutched, he thought better of it. He wanted to get the shore out. You can see he really can't see second base with Garza standing there, and ends up getting the out at first.
Second and third with one away. Be a sacrifice bunt for Nicolino. And now we go back to the top of the order, and the major league hits leader, D. Gordon. And he rips one into the opposite field just like that. 1 run is in. Another trying to score. Echeverria is in there. And a 2 RBI single for D. Gordon.
They're jumping on fastballs early, aren't they, on Matt Garza?
Marlins take the lead here in the third.
Another fastball from Garza out over the plate. D. Gordon able to get on top of it. Now you have Perez playing in on the grass, respecting his bunt ability. Slaps it right by him. And the Marlins taking advantage of Chris Davis out in left field.
And Gordon is a guy who loves to run. Probably won't be at first base long. Ichiro takes a strike.
Second in the league with 36 stolen bases. Billy Hamilton, of course, leads the major leagues in steals.
He has 53, does Hamilton, of the Reds. Gordon has been caught 14 times. That is the most in the major leagues, to go along with those 36 steals. I would imagine Ichiro is an ideal number 2 hitter with a base stealer ahead of you. Not afraid to get deep in a count. A left-handed batter, which limits the view of a catcher.
You just got to assume he's running on every pitch when you really can't have that. You don't have that view of the base runner when the ball gets to you. A lot of times you get a late transition and end up making a late throw to second.
Those are the top 3 in steals in the National League. Hamilton, Gordon, and Charlie Blackmon of the Rockies. Colorado center fielder. This is where a team like the Marlins can really disrupt what Garza is trying to do. Garza does not like throwing to bases. He will, but he doesn't like it. He especially doesn't like fielding ground balls and throwing to bases. Gordon has a big lead. Ichiro got jammed. And a fly ball to center. And this will be out number 2 for Garza.
If you're Prado's going to, or I should say, Gordon's going to take off now with Prado coming to the plate. Not a big home run threat.
Gordon leading off, taking that sleeper lead out there, trying to distract Garza maybe into a balk.
Yeah, he was just walking towards second base before Garza even got on the pitching rubber. These guys, like Gordon, Billy Hamilton, they create a lot of problems when they're on the bases. A lot of attention paid to these guys.
For whatever reason, Gordon has stayed put at first. Prado takes a strike. Ichiro and Prado taking pitches to give him a chance to run. Martin Prado playing every day with the Marlins. Utility man, made an all-star team as a utility man with the Atlanta Braves. They traded him to the Diamondbacks. He became an everyday player with Arizona, then ends up with the Marlins. Always been a good player, very versatile player. Gordon is daring Garza to make a throw over to first base.
He's got a big lead, just messing around over there, trying to distract him.
And the 0-1's in there for a strike.
And Prado expected him to run. He's allowing him to run and didn't. And now he's down 0-2. Now he's on his own. You're going to run. I'm going to swing. I have to. I got 2 strikes.
There he goes. Pitches a ball throw to second. Hits Gordon. Ball springs free. Safe on a stolen base. Well, that was close to being a strike for Garza.
Well, what a nice throw by Jonathan Lucroy. He continues to throw the ball well. The baseball and D. Gordon got there at the same time. Well, just missed the outside corner. Lucroy's throw right on the money. I think if he catches it, he might be out.
Tell you what, I think Gordon put his hand in the glove of Herrera. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it worked as he's sliding in. Prado chops it foul.
If nothing else, he didn't allow Herrera to move his glove to catch the baseball. Kind of pinned him. That would be pass interference in football.
You're right. I don't know. He's making a play on the ball, though, right? Was he looking at the ball? That's a question. Followed that glove and ends up as a steal. Otherwise, Lucroy's got a chance to throw him out. Here's the 1-2. Prado takes it in the dirt. Good block by Lucroy. Prado was traded from the Diamondbacks last year to the Yankees. They thought he would help them. They were trying to make a postseason push, which did not come to fruition. Still in the middle of a 4-year contract that he originally signed as a member of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Actually signed as an Atlanta Brave, and then they sent him to Arizona. 31 years of age now, Martin Prado.
And a good veteran presence with this young ball club right now. He's got the sweet pine tar on that bat. That's about as much pine tar as you're going to see on a bat. He's got the old Louisville Slugger, flame treated.
It's very old school here. You don't see many bats like that and much pine tar like that.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Craig Biggio. It's all over his helmet.
All over his jersey.
Full count. And a swing at a miss. Garza went with a hook and struck him out to end the inning. Second K for Garza. Marlins get 2 and they lead it 2-1. by Deke Gordon in the top of this third inning. Now we head to the bottom of the third, and it is now time for you to tweet us your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag #WithStateAStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. It's all brought to you by T-Mobile. Monday night at Miller Park, Milwaukee and Miami. There's a lot of alliteration in there. It all works well. Lucroy will lead off. He'll be followed by Braun, then Lind. And the Brewers find themselves behind a run now as we head to the home third. Adrian Johnson barking out those strikes tonight behind the plate.
How's he rank for you behind home plate?
As far as home plate calls, that's up there, top 5 for sure. He's got a booming voice. I like an umpire that's into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Into it.
Tom Hallion.
He's one of my favorites. Jim Joyce is number 1 for me.
Mm-hmm. Broadcaster friendly.
He gets a good growl going when he calls strikes. Adrian Johnson's more along like the opera side of umpires.
Got a good voice.
Yeah, nice pipes. Good job, Adrian. I don't know what kind of umpire he is, but he calls a beautiful strike.
Yeah, he's good to you. When it comes down to it, that's all that matters.
That's
actually,
really
right?
all that matters, how it affects me. That pretty much goes for everything. Yes, sir.
You jest.
Well, Lucroy flew out to deep right in the first inning. Just missed it on the bat. Hasn't had the power year that he had last season, and he's a little late on that fastball.
Talk about a catcher playing every day. I mean, he very rarely gets a day off. Day game after a night game. He did that yesterday. He's done that a number of times, and he just wants to stay in that lineup every day. Martin Maldonado's having a difficult time getting in that starting lineup.
2-2 the count. Marlins are without Giancarlo Stanton and Christian Yelich, as Lucroy bounces to second base. That's what's interesting about the Marlins. They have some firepower. I mean, they've got star players.
Yeah.
They've got Gordon, who's been an all-star the last 2 years. Echeverria, great young talent. Stanton, Yelich, both on the DL right now, but it's just been a dreadful season for them.
Think about the run production that Giancarlo Stanton would have at this point if he didn't break his left wrist. He went on the disabled list on June 22nd. He's still 4th in the league in homers. 27 home runs, 67 RBIs in 74 games.
Wow. This was the spot where his season ended last season with that. As Braun lines one into left field, a base hit. So Braun is aboard after Lucroy grounds out.
So I guess everybody was wondering how he would respond after getting hit in the face here at Miller Park, and certainly I think that question's been answered.
Yeah, for sure.
Good for him.
Yeah, you give him a lot of credit because you get hit in the face like that, and that was one of the scariest moments in the history of Miller Park. Just not sure the extent of the damage, and the damage was significant to Giancarlo Stanton last year. His father was in the stands along with his aunt. It was hard to see them watch their son, their nephew, on the field, and had to be carted off.
The folks here at Miller Park handled it beautifully. They took their time, and Stanton got through it well. Took him some time, but he got back, and boy did he ever.
No balls and a strike on Adam Lind. And there's only one infielder over there, and it's right at him, which is going to turn into a 5-6-3 double play to end the inning. Have the shift on, didn't matter. Inning ends. Has partnered with the Players Trust to provide transportation to COA youth and family centers to today's Brewers game aboard the Fox Sports Fan Express. It's all part of the Buses for Baseball program. This program will provide over 750 youth across the country with an unforgettable ballpark experience as the personal guest of the players. COA helps Milwaukee children, teens, and families reach their greatest potential through a continuum of educational, recreational, and social work programs offered through its urban community centers and rural camp facility. Great to have them with us. I saw the bus outside before the game. I love that bus, by the way. That's a cool way to come to the ballpark.
Yeah, their facility down there on North Avenue, I used to be involved with them. Had a golf outing that benefited COA, Children's Outing Association. Good work they do.
Yeah, make it a memory. Garza back to work. Bohr at the plate, hits one sharply through for a base hit. So the Marlins are sitting back on the Garza fastball. At least that's what they did in the third inning, to the tune of 2 runs and 3 hits. And now Bohr with a base hit.
And in all honesty, the fastball is getting a lot of the plate. And his 5 starts since his return from the disabled list, he was very good on the corners, both inside corner and outside corner. A lot of pitches down the middle tonight.
Here's Derek Dietrich, and that one's deep into center field, way back. This one is way gone. A home run for Dietrich, who also jumps on a first pitch fastball. And just like that, the Marlins lead it 4-1.
And another fastball that got a lot of the play. This one up. And Dietrich with number 5 on the season. Way back in center, so the plan of attack against Garza is obvious at this point. He got a fastball that you like, and he's thrown a few of them that have been down the middle of the plate, and Dietrich able to knock this one out of here. That was at 90 miles an hour.
That was a no-doubter. Here's Ozuna, first ball swinging. That's fair. That was on a curveball. Ozuna on his way to second base. Davis's throw comes in late. First pitch swinging Miami Marlins. 3 straight hits to start the 4th inning.
I understand swinging at the first pitch fastball, but that was a curve. Curve that was up a little bit. Ozuna recently back from the minor leagues. He got sent down. This guy was a budding star for the Miami Marlins. Got sent to the minor leagues.
He was in the middle of a 1 for 36 stretch at the plate. turned down a huge contract offer, at least for a player of his experience, and ended up in the minor leagues this year for the Marlins. He's back, and he doubles. He's 1 for 2. Runner at second for JT Realmuto.
And that's why you would turn down your first multi-year deal when you're a young player. Guaranteed money in the bank. You see it all the time, though.
It is a gamble. And the thing about it puts a lot of pressure on you as a player.
Yes, it does. And that's what you love about Jonathan Lucroy. I know he's been having a tough season this year, but the Brewers offered him a pretty good multi-year deal. He took it, but that's not going to be the last deal he's going to sign.
Frees you up to be able to play. It certainly worked for Carlos Gomez and Lucroy. Sign that first contract, get your family situated, then you can just go out and play.
Yeah. And we're not talking chump change. We're talking tens of millions of dollars.
I think in Ozuna's case, I believe the reports were it was around $40 million.
How do you turn that down? Beyond me. More money than you think he could spend in his life. You never know, but that's a lot of money to turn down. And I would imagine when he was down in the minor leagues, he was thinking about that.
He said being in the minor leagues felt like being in jail. He's back now. Count remains at 2-2 on Realmuto, who started this hit parade. Since Realmuto led off the third inning, the Marlins have 6 hits in the last 9 batters, including a home run and 2 doubles. On the ground to third base, Perez looks the runner back. Long throw is in time. First out of the 4th inning for Garza.
Hey, tonight's time of the game winner, Mr. Madison's Bar and Grill in Beaver Dam. You thought it was going to be in Madison, didn't you? Nope. Beaver Dam tonight. Hey, if they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite Beer Pen tickets to a 2015 Brewers home game. We're running out of home games, actually. A lot of road games in September. It's offered courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
You're going off script a little bit. You're
twice
adding some ad lib into your professional promo read right there.
Yeah, I'm feeling good tonight.
That is risky.
Feeling chatty.
Risky, Rock. Just stick to the script.
Cutting into your time, aren't I?
How many Madisons you know of? When I say Madison, what comes to mind? Oscar, right?
Yeah, Odd Couple.
Dolly. Billy.
Madison, Wisconsin. In all honesty, when I hear the word Madison, that's what I think of.
Madison, Wisconsin.
State capital.
How about Avenue? See, now I'm going off script. Look what you made me do. Echeverria in an 0-2 count. Garza's got a runner at second. 2 runs are in. Ground ball to Herrera. And there is the second out. And the pitcher coming up. Ozuna to third base. Got a fairly light schedule in the big leagues tonight. 10 games. I think the game that has the most interest tonight, in my opinion, is the Giants and the Cardinals. San Francisco and St. Louis are scoreless. Little tapper to the mound. Garza will flip it to first, and that will end the inning. But Derek Dietrich, on the first pitch he saw, a 2-run home run. Marlins lead it 4-1. Wisconsin is brought to you by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. By Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. And by Hupy and Abraham. 800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham. Tell them you mean business.
Well, back here at Miller Park, the Brewers have some work to do down 4-1 as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. By popular demand, vintage Brewer bobblehead is back and returns to the Crew's all-fan giveaway lineup on Sunday, August 30th as the Brewers take on the Reds, and all fans in attendance get an old-fashioned nodder courtesy of Sendix. Reserve your spot today at brewers.com/tickets. It's not a bobblehead, it's a nodder.
What do you mean? Like he nods?
It just nods. It doesn't kind of bounce all the time.
Just goes up and down?
It nods. You know what that is.
An approving nod? I didn't know that was a word, nodder.
That's like what you do to me when I know it's time for me to talk. Right? I'll let you know when to talk.
All right. Nod. Give me a nod. You're an excellent nodder yourself.
Yeah.
Chris Davis leads off 4-1. The Brewers down 3 now. After a couple of 2-run innings for the Marlins. 2 swings of the bat has produced all 4 runs. D. Gordon drove in 2 with a single in the 3rd and a 2-run homer by Dietrich in the top of the 4th. Fouled away. Didn't mean to do it. Davis had a hit his last time up. He singled and then scored. He's now 5 for 12 on the homestand. Has had a couple of 2-homer games recently. The last homestand. That one's in there for a strike, says Adrian Johnson. '23-year-old Justin Nicolino. And Davis is down on strikes.
Some kind of slider that didn't do much, but Chris Davis swings right through it. Check it out. I mean, middle in, and the big swing by Davis comes up empty. Look at this pitch. That was a slider, just stayed right up in the wheelhouse of Chris Davis, and must feel like he's got a hole in that bat. He was right on it.
Well, Nicolino pitching well thus far. He's only given up the 1 run. It was an RBI by Peterson. There's a strike to Herrera. Nicolino is from Orlando, Florida. And then drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays. He was a 2nd rounder by the Blue Jays out of high school. This is his first year in the big leagues at age 23. He's been at it for, this is his 6th professional season. Came in as an 18-year-old. Had a great year last year in Double-A. Put him on the map a little bit with the Marlins. 14-4 with a 2.85 ERA. There's a ground to the 3rd. Nice pickup by Prado, and Herrera is retired. 2 gone.
Yeah, tricky hop, but Prado able to handle it. He charges it. That's what allowed him to make that play. Got it on a short hop and an easy flip over to Justin Bour for the out. Well, so far it looks like Nicolino is able to keep the baseball down pretty well. He didn't make that mistake to Davis, but got away with it.
Made 20 starts in AAA New Orleans this year. And after trading a couple of starting pitchers, Matt Latos and Dan Herron, spots were available. And Nicolino gets the chance here in the big leagues. He made his major league debut on the road in Cincinnati. That was back on June 20th. Perez with a swing and a miss. That deal with Toronto still boggles the mind. That was a 12-player trade when it was all said and done between the Marlins and the Blue Jays in the winter of 12 leading up to the 2013 season. 12 players in one deal. Yeah. Everybody thought it was a fire sale for the Marlins, and it felt like it at the time. They had signed all these top flight players like Jose Reyes and Mark Burley. They had a top flight starter, Joe Johnson. That's a name that came up very fast. Remember Joe Johnson, when he was in that moment of time, he was as good as any pitcher in the game. Was it back in or Josh Johnson, I beg your pardon, not Joe Johnson, back in 2008. I remember a game he pitched against the Brewers. He went the distance and he hit a 400-foot homer. That one's lined into left, and it's going to be caught by Dietrich. 3 up and 3 down. The Brewers go in order. They trail 4-1.
Hotel and Casino. Top of the 5th here at Miller Park. Brewers down 3 to the Marlins. Time to check in with the crew in the community. Brewers wives will assist the Salvation Army in support of their Feed the Kids summer lunch program by distributing lunches to children at Risky Park. The Salvation Army Feed the Kids summer lunch program needs hundreds of children in undeserved areas during summer months. Right?
All right, Telly, thanks. Here we go to the 5th inning. Marlins lead Garza and the Brewers 4-1. And it'll be D. Gordon to lead off. He drove in the first 2 Miami runs with a single to the opposite field. Marlins have been on the attack, swinging early in the count, doing damage mostly on the Garza fastball early in the count. Ozuna had a hit on a curveball, a first pitch curveball. Garza could use a clean inning. He retired the first 6 that he faced, and then allowed 6 hits to the next 9 batters. Gordon has that hit, the 2 RBIs, and a stolen base in this game. His 37th steal of the year. Son of a big league pitcher, Tom Gordon, Flash Gordon. I think that nickname applies more to his son than the father, although his dad was a lot of fun to watch. Had that big curveball, remember?
Good closer. He was a starter, closer. Red Sox, Kansas City.
And D's turned himself into a star player. The Dodgers weren't so sure about Gordon. He had a really poor year a couple of years ago. Came back, made an all-star team with the Dodgers. Strike 2 on Gordon. He was playing shortstop with the Dodgers. He's moved over to second base with the Marlins with Echeverria, an established talent. There's a base hit. And Gordon thinking about 2. He's on his way. Braun got rid of it quickly. Gordon all the way in, able to keep a hand on the bag, and it is his second hit, this time a hustle double. 40th multi-hit game of the season for D. Gordon.
Yeah, he's feeling it this year. You know, the story for D. Gordon and his success this year is a lot like the story for Carlos Gomez when he came to the Brewers. I mean, with the Dodgers, D. Gordon was told to, be patient at the plate. We want you to walk. We want you to hit ground balls, and that just didn't work for him. Well, the Marlins picked him up, and they said, just do what you want to do. And look at the success. I mean, that's almost identical to what Carlos Gomez was able to do here.
Leads the big league in hits. He has 2 more here tonight. And Ichiro takes a strike. By the way, only Joey Votto has more multi-hit games than D. Gordon this year. Votto has 42. Gordon now with 40. '41-year-old Ichiro Suzuki keeps himself in fantastic shape. He's one of the more flexible players in the major leagues. His stretching routine is impressive. Nice play there by Adam Lind. That was impressive. Ichiro is out. Does advance a runner, though. Gordon to third with 1 away.
Right at him on a couple of hops, and that second hop looked like it was a tricky one for Adam Lind. It came up on him just a little bit because it was a top spin ground ball and able to handle it nicely. I mean, doesn't even have to move for this ground ball, right at him, and able to make the play himself. Second time that Ichiro has hit one at him.
An Adam at Adam. Strike 2, Prado. Prado's had a tough time with the Garza curveball so far tonight. They struck him out on that curveball back in the 3rd inning. Runner at third, infield in, 1 man out. 0-2 now on Prado. Fastball that time. Garza's been pitching well, as Telly mentioned, gave you the numbers since coming back from the disabled list. Only missed 1 start. He took that DL trip during the All-Star break. So there's a little gap between his start on July 2nd, and then he didn't pitch again until July 21st. But only missed 1 start in the rotation. Came back with 6 shutout against Cleveland. Has not allowed more than 3 runs in a start since coming back until tonight. He's given up 4 tonight on 7 hits.
Marlins haven't been a very bad hitting ball club. They're about middle of the pack in the National League in batting average. You know, their home run numbers are a bit askew. Well, they're 14. You can imagine what they would be if they didn't count Javon Stanton's home run numbers. Giancarlo Stanton.
And the ballpark they play in, right? It's a big pitcher friendly park.
Well, the Atlanta Braves have hit fewer home runs.
Full count. Gordon at third, and Prado lines one center field. Peterson makes a catch. The throw comes all the way in, and a short hop. Gordon safe. Pure speed, able to get that run for the Marlins. He did not get a great jump, did Gordon, but still able to score.
And a perfect throw might get him at home plate, but that's asking a lot from, out there in center field. Had to go down and get it. His momentum going away from home plate a little bit. If it's right on the bat, right on the money, he's going to be out, but just off a little bit, and Gordon able to score.
That'll be a sacrifice fly for Prado. 5-1 Marlins. 2 outs in the inning, bases empty for Justin Bour. Bour's having a decent year. He's got 11 home runs. Big power hitter. Hitting .252. Got an on base at .330. Thornburg getting loose. Garza might be coming up to the end of the line here as Bohr wraps one into center field. A base hit. He's 2 out of 3 tonight. So the hits keep coming for the Marlins. They now have 8 hits. 5 runs are in. We're in the 5th inning, and I would imagine Garza might have one more hitter before Counsell has to go get him. And here's the guy that homered off of him his last time up, Derek Dietrich. Jumped on the first pitch and hit one out straight away center field.
Yeah, a lot of mistakes with the fastball tonight. That's it in a nutshell for Matt Garza.
Little bouncer to Lind. He's got it, and he'll go for the tag to end the inning. So threw him a changeup that time. He got his man. Another run is in, and it's 5-1 Marlins. The Brewers have their work cut out for them tonight. Headed to the bottom of the 5th, down 4. Time now for our Carsoup.com trivia question. Which 4 active MLB players started in the 0-2 All-Star game right here at Miller Park? The infamous tie changed the rules, changed the whole landscape of the All-Star game. But there are 4 active players that started in that game. And I'm guessing at least one of them is here tonight. I got a pretty good idea which one it is.
Yep.
Good question tonight.
Yeah, that expanded the rosters for the All-Star game and made the game mean something. Home field advantage in the World Series.
Still not quite sold on that idea. World Series. As Peterson rolls one to second base.
Yeah, he should have been at the pink tie event at the Pfister last night. Yeah, Commissioner Emeritus Bud Selig was there. He was on it. He would have had a nice spirited conversation with you.
Come up on the Commissioner Emeritus with my.
That would have been a good time for it.
You know what I'd like to see?
What's that?
Did you ask me, or since you asked?
Yeah, I was thinking it, but.
I'd like to see a U.S. versus World All-Star game, like they do at the Futures game. I think that would be very entertaining, and then just alternate the World Series like it used to be. I think that would be a really fascinating game. United All-Stars from the United States versus All-Stars from the world, rest of the world, and there'd be a lot of back and forth. It'd feel a little bit, and I think it would give a little more promotion to the WBC, the World Baseball Classic. Since you asked, Ron. Jason Rogers pinch hitting for Garza with one out in the 5th.
Why does it always have to be the U.S. against the world? Isn't that the way it is
because
with everything?
That's just the way that the teams would align.
That's the way it lays out.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have a great competition out there. It's like, you know, it's kind of like a little bit like a Ryder Cup feel, but you obviously, the Ryder Cup doesn't have every player outside the United States. Just Great Britain and Ireland. But the President's Cup is that way in golf. U.S. versus world. The futures game is already established. That's always an entertaining game, so I think it works well. I mean, since you asked.
So I guess then a representative from every team would not be required.
Not necessarily. Or you could still do that if you wanted, because every team has a player from the U.S. and from the world. So you could always have somebody represented, I think.
Well, you're going to have to think it through a little bit more.
Don't get bogged down in details, Rock. 3-2 to Rogers, and that one is low and away. Ball 4. Good pinch hit appearance by Jason Rogers, and he's aboard with 1 man out. A reminder that coming up Saturday, MLB returns to Fox Sports 1 with another doubleheader. Giants look to improve their playoff chances. They're on the outside looking in right now. They will take on the wild card leading Pirates, and then it's followed by the Rangers and the Tigers. 2:30 Central is when coverage begins. It's on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Better we test that plan out with the home run hitting contest.
All right. I think that'd
be a good
great.
way to start.
Be a great idea.
See how that goes over.
Now, you're a long-time, old-school baseball guy, and as Segura lines one to left, that's down a base hit. And a little something cooking here for the Brewers in the 5th. 2 on, nobody out. The Brewers need a quick strike.
Well, got a pitch up out over the plate, and every time it seems like Nicolino makes a mistake up in the strike zone, the Brewers are hitting it hard. Unfortunately, he hasn't thrown too many up there.
Well, 3rd time through the batting order now. Segura with his first hit. Here is Lucroy. Two on, 1 man out. We play in the 5th. Brewers down 5-1. And that one's in there. I tell you, we were talking about Chris Narveson earlier. Narveson is in the bullpen for the Marlins these days, the former Brewer, after spending some time in Japan. This guy reminds me of Narveson.
Yes, he does.
He throws a lot like him.
Yeah, except for the curveball. Narveson with the curveball. He'll throw that once in a while. Nicolino doesn't throw a curve, but he does throw the changeup.
There's Chris Narveson.
Chris Narveson, Casey McGee on the Marlins.
Both of those players went to Japan after their time in Milwaukee. Narveson had shoulder surgery as a Brewer and basically ended his season. I think a lot of folks felt his career was in jeopardy. And he was able to come back. He said he learned a lot. He loved playing in Japan. He said he really enjoyed his time playing there in Tokyo for the Swallows, Yakult Swallows. But glad to be back in the big leagues. Speaking of the World game, Japan is a great baseball hotbed. Korea as well.
Yeah.
Draw big crowds and they love baseball.
Ichiro will be in the Hall of Fame, I would imagine. The first Asian player in the Hall in Cooperstown.
Two on, one out. Here's a 1-2. Lucroy pulls it foul.
I don't think there's much question whether he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. That's
he's
pretty much a lock, isn't it?
Yep. The Gold Gloves, the hits, hits titles for Ichiro. He's got a very impressive resume. He spent 9 years in Japan. Was a star there. He's a legend in Japanese baseball, and certainly had a major role in many of the Japanese position players coming over here. There's a called strike 3. Lucroy is rung up. Snuck one on the inside corner for the second out.
Yeah, Ichiro back in 2004. Remember what he did? Hit 372. He had 262 hits. Can you imagine?
Twice won a batting title. 7 times he led his league in hits. Led all of baseball in hits. He by all means was one of the dominant players in an era, in a decade. He was an all-star every year from 2001 to 2010 with the Mariners. Here's Braun. He takes a strike. Ichiro's gaining on 3,000 hits. He's got a chance to do it this year. Ichiro is just 65 hits away from 3,000.
It's got to be a goal for him.
75 hits away, I beg your pardon. But I mean, you could see that next season, early next season, maybe halfway through the year. 85. I keep bumping up. He's got 85 hits.
I don't see him doing that this year.
3,000. No. But he's got a lot of baseball in him, even at 41. 41-93 total hits. Passing Ty Cobb.
Yeah.
On Saturday.
85 hits in 6 weeks.
That'd be a lot of hits.
Now, and the fact that he was such a good defender out in right field, good throwing arm, very accurate, made great catches. Just a terrific player all around.
Won the Gold Glove in right field every year from 2001 to 2010. Great throwing arm. Always enjoy watching Ichiro. Braun fouls it back. Count remains at a ball and 2 strikes. Brewers need a big bolt here. Next home run for Braun will have him standing alone as the franchise leader in homers. He's currently tied with Robin Yount. And the 1-2 is inside. He went for that same spot that he got Lucroy. 2-2 now on Braun. Rogers at second, Segura at first, and Braun fouls it away. Count stays at 2-2. Braun hammers one to left. That's down a hit. Coming in to score Rogers. Hit like a bullet. Ryan Braun with a 2-strike, 2-out RBI. It's 5-2 Marlins. And Braun aboard for the third time. He's 2 for 2 with a walk today.
Yeah, 7-pitch at bat for Brawny, and this time Nicolino made a mistake with an off-speed pitch. So the 1-out walk comes around to score. There's a slider curveball down and in, and Braun able to hammer it out there into left field. Jason Rogers scores. Yeah, worth another look. Columbia St. Mary's, a 2-strike curveball that Ryan Braun hammers into left field, a 2-out RBI.
Well, Braun keeps it going. Batting average on the rise. That's RBI number 71. Leads the club in that category. Quick visit to the mound. Chuck Hernandez wanting to just check on his young pitcher Nicolino. This is a big spot for him. Bullpen's quiet. Nicolino has a lefty coming up in Lynn, who hit the ball sharply his last time up, but it ended up as a 5-6-3 double play. Brewers are a swing of the bat from tying this game if Lynn can launch one. Matt Garza starts, goes 5 innings, 5 earned runs. Rogers pinch hit for him. And Rogers scores the run here in the 5th on the Braun single. A walk and 2 hits this inning. Pitch count in good shape, at least to get through the 5th. Now the Marlins bullpen starts to stir a little bit. Lynn right back up the middle. And to the back goes Echeverria to end the inning. So the Brewers get one. Ryan Braun stays hot, drives in his 71st. 5-2 Marlins.
Above, Brewers down by 3 as we head to the 6th. Hey, DNR days are back at Miller Park through this special discounted ticket package. You get a ticket to a Brewers divisional matchup plus a limited edition camo Brewers cap, all for just $17. That's $17.50, I should say. For details, visit brewers.com/DNR.
To the 6th we go. Tyler Thornburg is on the mound for the Brew Crew. Garza 5 innings. Tough night for Garza, giving up 5 earned runs, on the hook for the loss. And Thornburg will try to restore it a little bit here.
It's been a while for Tyler Thornburg. He last pitched on Tuesday at Wrigley Field. Gave up a couple of runs in an inning and a third of work. Appearance number 11 for Tyler.
Scott Ozuna leading off. First ball swinging. Segura backhands and a good throw for out number 1. Back at it tomorrow night. Then Wednesday is a day game, a matinee here at Miller Park. And then an off day. The Brewers will then hit the road to take on the Nationals. And the Brewers will be back home. September schedule is not very home friendly, so get your baseball fix while you can. It's going to be over soon. Brewers do have a homestand coming up against the Reds and the Pirates. Home series coming up. Reds, Pirates, Cardinals, the Reds again. And then the last 3 games of the year in October, the Cubs. October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Brewers will go to Miami to take on the Marlins between a trip to Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. That's a 3-city trip coming up in early September.
A lot of road games coming up for the crew. Going to be making up for this long stretch of home games that they've had here in the month of August.
2-2 to Real Muto. And he misses high. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
I was talking downstairs, and somebody told me that there's only 17 home games left after tonight.
Yep, that's it. I was going to add them up, but I didn't want to take that risk again.
Go ahead.
Don't have enough fingers and toes.
That was our buddy Tim Shea, who works with us here at the ballpark. So if that's not right, then we can blame him.
Well, he would know. He knows everything. Little cue shot, foul.
How long is this going to take?
What's that?
You're adding up over there. I can see you.
Oh, you want a number? No, it is 17. I never doubted it. After tonight.
It's all smoke coming out of your ears. You all right?
3-2 is fouled away. I got another trip to Wrigley Field. St. Louis. And since we'll be right there in St. Louis, we're going to just drop over to San Diego since it's right next door. 2 3-city road trips in September. Fly ball to right, and Braun will make the play for out number 2. Well, Rock, as promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag #WisDataStrongFan. It's brought to you by T-Mobile, and it comes to us from Cheryl today. She's got a good seat way up there.
No such thing as a bad seat in this ballpark.
At least Cheryl's knees made it in. It's a base hit by Echeverria, his second hit of the game. The aggressive Miami Marlins. That's always a good seat. The Euchre seat.
Staring down Euchre.
Just don't put your hand on his knee. And he just sits there, always smiling. That guy in front of him was having a good time tonight. Never mind him. He's just taking a little break. One of 2 Euchre statues in the ballpark. The other one out front, along with Bud Selig and Hank Aaron and Robin Yount. The pitcher Nicolino in a 1-1 count. Keeping an eye on that Giants Cardinals game tonight. Of course, St. Louis running away. Well, I wouldn't say running away, but they are the team with the best record in the major leagues. 1-0 lead over the Giants. San Francisco just swept the Washington Nationals, and yet the Pirates swept the Mets. So San Francisco behind the Pirates and the Cubs in the wild card race. Pirates are losing tonight. Diamondbacks lead 4-1. Arizona has a lead over Garrett Cole and the Pirates tonight. Saw the Pirates yesterday, partner. Had a chance to talk to Ramos Ramirez. Talking about playing him at first base. He had 4 hits yesterday against the Mets.
Yeah, it hasn't worked out too well with Pedro Alvarez over there at first. He'd be a good first baseman. A good hand. I mean, you know, pretty athletic still around the bag. And
that's going to be interesting. The Pirates are going to get Jordy Mercer back soon. They're going to get Josh Harrison back shortly. Clint Hurdle's going to have a boatload of infielders to deal with. Full count, 2 outs to the pitcher, and that one's in there. Called strike 3. Down he goes. Inning over in a scoreless inning for Tyler Thornburg. Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. And by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. 5-2 Marlins. We're headed to the Brewer half of the 6th inning. Tyler Thornburg with a scoreless 6th in relief of Garza. Hey, a reminder that every weeknight, don't miss MLB Whip Around on Fox Sports 1. They've got highlights, instant analysis, live look-ins from around the league. MLB Whip Around is weeknight 6 p.m. Central on Fox Sports 1 and always streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Nicolino pitching well. He's given up 2 runs through 5 innings. The rookie left-hander. And he'll start his 6th inning now against Davis. 82 pitches, a couple of walks allowed. Ryan Braun and Shane Peterson with the RBIs. Nicolino down in the minor leagues this year, AAA, 20 starts, had a 3.5 ERA, and was 7-7. He's come up to the big leagues. Made a couple of starts in June and then back up to pitch against Boston on August 11th. This is his 4th major league start. Had a 7-inning, no-run game against the Reds in his major league debut back on June 20th.
And the Brewers are going to see another left-hander tomorrow. They've done pretty well against lefties this year, Brewers. As a team, the Brewers' record against left-handed starters this year, 13-12. Not bad for a team that's so far under 500 this year.
Davis out to Echeverria for the first out. Elian Herrera now with one away.
Starting to flip up a curveball all of a sudden. We haven't seen too many of those. He threw run to Braun for his base hit to drive in a run last inning. Just broke that out an inning ago.
And Herrera on a hop to Echeverria in time for out number 2. It's a great example of how a shortstop who moves well like Echeverria can position himself to make a play on a good hop, on a nice easy hop, as opposed to a tough short hop. Watch what he does here.
Watch his feet. Just watch his feet, the way he uses his feet to get in position. Really never flat-footed. You never see that with Echeverria. He's always got on the balls of his feet, ready to go, and able to get a clean hop and in position to make a throw.
Something you don't really notice. You feel like, well, he got a nice hop, easy play. But he played it into a good hop. That was a little bit of a tweener. Perez lines one to center right at Ozuna to end the inning. Nicolino is through 6. 3 up, 3 down, 6th inning. It's 5-2 Marlins. Who begins his 2nd inning. Back to our carsoup.com trivia. Can you name the 4 active players? Ichiro, Alex Rodriguez, Torrey Hunter, and Jimmy Rollins. Remember, Hunter had that great catch, robbing Barry Bonds of a home run. Rollins with the Dodgers now. Torrey Hunter with the Twins.
That's a good question.
Brian Michalogic, the author of the carsoup.com trivia.
Is he here tonight?
This will be his one night of the week. Completely exhausted from following Jordan Spieth at the PGA Championship
and State Fair.
In his full Wisconsin glory is Brian Mikulajic this week. Gordon takes a strike, 1-2. Congratulations to all of the volunteers and everybody who was involved in putting on the PGA Championship at Whistling Straits. A great job.
Well, that course was in great shape, wasn't it?
Players raving about not just the course, but the experience, the hospitality. Wisconsin, Whistling Straits, you guys made us proud. Well done. Got a Ryder Cup coming back. It's just a fantastic major championship venue. Jason Day winning his first major. There's a swing and a miss. Gordon strikes out. Good hook by Thornburg.
And he's got a good curveball. He's got the change up, and not throwing as hard as he did the beginning of last year, but still very effective with the off-speed stuff.
Just in case you're wondering, here's a follow-up, Rock, on the starting lineups from that 0-2 All-Star game. Ichiro, A-Rod, Torrey Hunter, all starters for the American League, and then Jimmy Rollins, a starter on the National League team.
Yep, Joe Torre, Bob Brenly, the managers for the respective leagues, American and National. Ran out of pitching. Unfortunate.
Back in the day when managers tried to get everybody into the game so every organization could see their player play or pitch.
National League had a comfortable lead, and I'll never forget, Young Kim came in, gave up a bunch of runs, tied it up, and then both managers looking at each other between innings and saying, I don't have any more pitchers, do you? Change the All-Star game forever.
Yeah.
I like the new rules. I mean, you know, everybody, it's a big controversy, and, you know, it's a debatable point whether it should mean something in the regular season, the playoffs, whatever. But, you know, I like the fact that a player who, a pitcher in particular, who cannot pitch because he pitched, you know, too close to the All-Star game, can't make the team. I mean, that's kind of a wasted spot.
Ichiro, shallow center field. Back is Segura, and he'll call it. He's got it. 2 outs. Yeah, I like that rule a lot. You're right. So if you pitch on Sunday and you're not eligible to pitch for the All-Star game, but you still get to go to the All-Star game. You still get to be a part of it.
Right.
Participate. You just don't get to play the game.
You don't take up a roster spot.
A good rule. It's still the best All-Star game among all the sports. The baseball All-Star game. Two outs for Prado.
You did add something, you know, around the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies that I agree with. I mean, add an extra day to the All-Star break and then have the Hall of Fame inductions right after the All-Star game. That allows everybody to participate.
That was a base hit. Prado a single to right.
Not many things I agree with you on, but I agree with I agree with that. That's a good idea.
I just would like to give the Hall of Fame ceremony more of a spot. You know, there are games going on and there's other news, and I think we should celebrate the Hall of Fame. It's not a Major League Baseball thing. I mean, it's its own museum, stands alone. But, you know, I think especially players going in, it'd be nice to have your fans go up, be able to participate more, and have its own window.
Yeah,
just
I like it. I like it.
You're still not buying the U.S. versus World, though?
No. Let's start with the home run hitting contest. Can I agree with you on that? Or don't you like that idea?
I'm okay with that, too. No, I think the whole thing can be USA versus World.
Well, we'll see what Commissioner Manfred thinks of that idea. You think he's listening?
Nope. And I don't think he cares anyway.
No, I'll guarantee Mr. Selig's watching.
Yeah, he watches.
He watches a lot.
Well, like I always said, that changing it to make the All-Star game count, always been a fan of that. Here's the 1-2, and Bohr reaches out, pokes one foul. Thornburg trying to post a couple of scoreless innings. He gave up a hit last inning, stranded a runner. 2 outs, 2-2 pitch. Ground ball. Herrera is there. And that'll be the last out. So 2 scoreless for Thornburg. Maybe they'll let him roll. His spot due up second. Milwaukee 5-2. The Marlins lead the Brew Crew. Our Blaine's Farm and Fleet down on the farm report. Victor Roach, a couple of hits yesterday, including a home run. And he's having a good year with Biloxi. The front running Shuckers down in the Southern League. 7 homers, 32 runs batted in. Roach was drafted with hand problems, wrist problems. And they were being very patient with him. Now he's healthy again and got big power. Our buddy Jeff Levering is in Biloxi. You know, he's down there checking on the Shuckers, and he'll be filing some reports. Going to be doing an award-winning podcast. Peterson over to first base, and there's the first out of the 7th inning. So Victor Roach, by the way, just to follow up, you saw his numbers in Biloxi. Now he's hit 17 home runs this year combined. He hit a ton of home runs, 10 of them down in Single A Brevard County, and all of his home runs in Single A this year were opposite field home runs. That's a nugget from our buddy Jeff Levering.
Are you talking to him right now?
He's texting in with information. He did tell us that his home run last night was into the teeth of the wind. Makes you feel like you were in Biloxi, doesn't it?
Yeah. Windy and muggy.
Logan Schaefer pinch hitting. That famous Matthew Broderick line in Biloxi Blues. They say, how hot is it? It's Biloxi hot. That's really hot.
You've been down in those parts?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It is. It's humid down the Gulf Coast.
Schaefer hits it hard, but right at Ichiro for the second out. I did a Double-A All-Star game one year down in Mobile, Alabama. As you see, Segura at the plate, presented by Wendy's. That was at Hank Aaron Field in Mobile, Alabama.
Who was your partner?
Good question. I believe that would be Scott Fletcher that year. Segura into center field. That's over the head of Ozuna. And Gene Segura with an extra base hit. 2 hits tonight. That's a 2-out double.
Well, good to see Segura start to swing the bat a little bit better. Need to get him going. Consecutive at-bats with a base hit. Line drive to left. Now a double over the head of Ozuna, who was playing shallow. Not figuring Segura was going to hit it over his head. That ball had some carry on it. And Ozuna out of his reach, and the Brewers inning continues.
Got a pitching change here. Dan Jennings will take the ball from his left-hander. 5-2. Brewers threaten here with a runner at second and 2 outs. We'll set up the new reliever after this. Here in the bottom of the 7th inning, it was Dee Gordon who gave the Marlins the lead. 2 RBI single in the 3rd inning. Driving in Real Muto and Echeverria. Then Garza giving up a 2-run homer to Derek Dietrich. That was in the 4th inning. It was 4-1 at that point. And then Ryan Braun drove in a run with 2 outs in the 5th after the Marlins scored a 5th run. Braun with 2 hits and a walk today, on base 3 times. 71 runs batted in for Braun. It is 5-2. And there is a new pitcher on the mound. Nicolino is out. The rookie, Brian Morris, is in for the Marlins.
Yeah, the former Pirate. The Brewers remember him from the Pirates. He's made 15 appearances against Milwaukee. Yeah, pretty good numbers. A 2.04 earned run average in his time against the Brewers. Last pitched yesterday against the Cardinals, 2/3 scoreless.
You got Lucroy at the plate. Braun due next. Lucroy would love to give Braun a swing here at Morris in the 7th inning. Nicolino has had a lot of success against Lucroy. It's an interesting pitching change. maybe not wanting to tempt fate. Pitch count getting into an uncomfortable position for the Marlins skipper. But Lucroy's had a tough time with Nicolino. I'm sure he's not disappointed about the change here. Strike in there.
Yeah, cut fastball from Brian Morris. He'll throw a fastball, cutter, and a slider.
And that's a cut fastball at 93. So with velocity and movement away from the right-handed batter, you don't see that very much. Segura's got a big lead after a 2-out double. Brewers trying to cash in here in the 7th. They're down 3, running out of outs tonight. Lucroy 0 for 3. Struck out his last time up with 2 on. Got a chance to pick one up here. Hitters count 3-1 with Braun due next. Figures to get something he can handle. And he missed to another one of those cut fastballs. Lucroy walks. That is a no-no. And Jennings can't believe it. Brings a guy in. He walks Lucroy. Now Braun will bat, representing the tying run. Ryan Braun tonight. He's in our shining moment, courtesy of the Marshfield Clinic. Had a single his first hit of the night after a walk in the first, and then Braun with a line drive base hit and an RBI in the 5th. Brought in Jason Rogers. Braun has a little history against Morris. He's 3 for 6. One of those hits a double. 2 on, 2 out. Down 3. Braun gets jammed right to Gordon. And that will end the inning. So the Brewers strand a pair with their best hitter up. 5-2 Miami. We're on our way to the 8th inning at Miller Park, Milwaukee.
Inning here at Miller Park, and this Wednesday is the final Kids and Seniors discount day of the year. The Brewers take on the Marlins, and all kids 14 and under and seniors 60 and over save 50% on tickets. Visit brewers.com/fan values.
Kids and seniors. You fit in that group. One of those groups. Here's Kyle Lohse on the mound. Former starter, now pitching in the bullpen. He's been pitching well out of the pen for the Brewers.
He's starting to get better feel for that changeup. I mean, I think the finger feeling a little bit better. Lohse was having a problem with one of the fingers on his pitching hand and affecting his off-speed stuff. 6.14 earned run average for Kyle Loesch so far this year. Loesch making his 4th appearance out of the bullpen.
And he'll face Derek Dietrich to start the inning. Well, Brewers had a great chance in the 7th with Braun at the plate, 2 men on, but give Morris credit. He got one in on the hands of Ryan Braun and a ground out to end the inning. First time Braun has been retired tonight. There's the changeup from Loesch, and he shakes that hand a little bit. Loesch dealing with a early in the season problem with his middle finger, and his changeup is interesting because he uses what they call the Vulcan grip. So he squeezes the ball between the middle finger and the ring finger. Ground ball to Lind. Loesch is there for him, and there is out number 1. I don't know any other pitcher who throws the Vulcan grip. I know there are a few that have done it in the past. I'm not sure there are any still. It's a really strange way to throw a changeup, but it's been his signature pitch. So think about the split finger fastball, right? The way you that would be the index finger and the middle finger. And he puts him between the middle finger and the ring finger.
Yeah, a little uncomfortable. So you figure if one of those, that middle finger is giving you problems, that's a tough grip. It's a tough grip anyway, but let alone when you're doing it when it's not feeling so good.
Think about the Spock, the Leonard Nimoy hand signal, the Vulcan. I think Spock was a Vulcan, right? And that's why they call it the Vulcan grip, because it's the same thing.
Spock, right? Yeah, I got it.
I know you know it.
That I know. I'm not a big Trekkie, but I do know that.
That's a walk on 4 pitches to Ozuna, who's been swinging away early in the count, decides to take a few here, and he's aboard. That's impressive, though. Use the word Trekkie. When you say you're not a big Trekkie, it makes me feel like you might be a big Trekkie, because most people don't say Trekkie if they're not a big Trekkie fan.
I've got kids, I don't live in a cave. I hear things. Our producer, one of our producers, huge.
It's a fly ball to center.
Or is that Star Wars?
See, now you've just defined yourself as back on the side of not being a Trekkie. I think he's more on the Star Wars side.
Yeah, I know.
Star Trek side. I met R2-D2 yesterday, by the way.
Was he at the ballpark?
He was in New York, yeah.
Citi Field?
No, the real thing. The real one. He rolls around, his head spins around.
The one on the show? The movie?
Yeah. He's got a good agent. Not many casting opportunities for a robot like that, except for that particular brand.
Yeah.
And he was able to get the job.
So I'd be more interested to see the robot in Lost in Space. Not sure where he's at.
I'm in a garage somewhere. Echeverria shows Bond, bunts it foul. Loesch working out of the bullpen in relief of Thornburg, who went 2 scoreless before being pinch hit for. Settled this game down a bit. Garza started, went 5 innings, 5 runs, 8 hits, or 7 hits. And that's in there. A strike. 1-2 the count. Since Loesch has been in the bullpen, he's commanded the outside corner well against right-handed hitters. Good fastball, good changeup combo. Just like pitch number 3 there on the corner.
Yeah, you saw Lucroy sneaking inside. Well, Loesch went over to first base.
1-2, 2 men out. Tried another one out there. Loesch has an interesting note on his season this year. He beat the Minnesota Twins on June 26th. So he has defeated all 30 major league teams. He's one of 15 pitchers to do it. Stay around long enough. Reaching out, serving one to center field is Echeverria. It's a good piece of hitting there on a 2-2 pitch.
And not a bad curveball, but just out in front, but kept the hands back long enough to dump it into center field. A 3-hit night. And just keeps the bat in the hitting zone long enough to get enough of it to dump it into center field.
A nice hand as Casey McGee is announced as the pinch hitter for Morris, the former Brewer. Casey McGee, his son Mac was probably more famous than his dad while he was a Milwaukee Brewer. What a great kid he is. Little Mac. Little Mac still going strong in uniform every day. The McGees were very big in the cerebral palsy community, and Mac was a shining star. Threw out a first pitch. Great kid. And a great family. A true baseball family. Matter of fact, McGee and his wife, they were married on a baseball diamond in Iowa.
That's right.
When he was in AAA in the Cubs organization. That's where the Brewers got him, from the Cubs.
Casey and Sarah gamers.
Swing and a miss.
Casey had a good year with the Marlins. Started with the Giants this year and now back with the Miami Marlins.
Well, the emergence of Matt Duffy in San Francisco has got a chance to win the Rookie of the Year award this year. Rendered McGee without a spot as he dumps one into right field, a base hit, and coming in to score is Ozuna. Casey McGee with an RBI single makes it 6-2. Loesch giving up a walk and 2 hits and now a run.
And neither hit all that hard, but because it's up in the strike zone, both Echeverria and McGee able to get enough of it. Pitch is up, and Casey McGee just tried to put the ball in play, able to dump it into right field for an RBI. A 2-out RBI to score a run. Now you get that pitch down, a little different result, but upstairs, both of the hits that Loesch has given up in this inning.
So first and third now with 2 away. Top of the order, D. Gordon. Big chopper. Herrera will go to the bag for the out to end the inning. Marlins add 1 to it. Tack on run in the 8th. It's 6-2 now. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Brewers are coming to bat.
ready for Brewers Live postgame, and 4 runs getting late, obviously. The Brewers, though, couldn't get a lot going against tonight's starting pitcher, that's for sure, Nicolino.
No, you know, the young kids did a nice job. Looked like he kept the team off balance. You know, they hit some balls hard, but right at people. When we got men on base, couldn't drive them in.
Still 6 outs to go, still within reach here for Milwaukee. 3-game winning streak on the line, but we'll catch up with Craig Counsell, get inside the clubhouse as well. Plenty more to come, get you set for Game 2 as well on Tuesday with Brewers Live coming up after the ball game. DA.
All right, Craig and Davey, affectionately known as Cravey. Brewers Live postgame coming your way. Former Brave on the mound, Mike Dunn, hard-throwing left-hander. Had a bit of a down season this year. Very high ERA for Dunn.
Yeah, 53rd appearance, a 1-5 record, and you know, you mentioned he throws hard. 96 he tops out at. And no activity in that Marlins bullpen, so you figure he's going to be in there a while. Got Lind and a couple of right-handers with Herrera sandwiched in between Davis and Perez, the switch hitter. Fastball, slider, curveball for Dunn.
Once part of the Dan Uggla trade. Going from Atlanta to the Marlins. Got a few updates around the big leagues. The Cardinals and the Giants are in the 8th inning now. They are tied at 1 in that game. They're talking about maybe Adam Wainwright returning this season. Wouldn't that be a boost for the Cardinals? Maybe even Matt Adams returning as well for St. Louis. Can anybody catch the Cardinals? That is a major question. The top 3 records in all of baseball, Cardinals, Blue Jays, or rather Cardinals, Royals, and the Pirates. And yet the Pirates in the same division as St. Louis, still sitting in a wild card position. They've been in the wild card game the last 2 years, but they are within 5 now. The Pirates actually lost today. Garrett Cole on the mound for Pittsburgh lost to Jeremy Hellickson of the Diamondbacks. So they could be back to 6 games back. The Cubs are hot, even though they lost to Sale and the White Sox yesterday. The Cubs had won 15 out of 16 before that loss yesterday.
Yeah, the Cubs will be in first place in 4 different divisions.
And they're 3rd in the Central Division.
Yep.
So that means if it all kind of shakes out like it looks right now, there's a lot of baseball to be played. As Lynn strikes out for the first out of the inning. The Central Division is going to wipe out itself because the wild card game is going to be 2 Central Division teams. Could be 2 Central Division teams. The winner of that would go on to play the Cardinals, who have the best record. So you'd have an all Central wild card game and then the NLDS. As it stands right now, the other division series in the National League would be the Mets and the Dodgers. Big swing by Davis. Still feels like the Nationals have a run in them, even though they played poorly. They've lost 6 straight. Brewers are going to see the Nats this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday afternoon. Check the Powerball home run leaderboard. Davis is on the list with 12. And then Lind. Braun has 21, hit number 21 yesterday. Foul ball by Davis. Chris had a single earlier tonight, 2nd inning, scored the first run on a Peterson RBI. He's 1 out of 3. Still throwing hard, Mike Dunn. Got to be command, right? To have an ERA over 5 when you have this kind of stuff left-handed.
Yeah, getting behind in the count, and a lot of reasons why a guy that throws this hard may be inconsistent with a curveball, the other secondary pitches. He's walked 17 batters in 39 innings. That's a lot of walks.
Davis now in a 3-2 count. Hey, good cut at it. Marlins scored in 3 consecutive innings. 2 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, added 1 in the 8th. Garza giving up 5. Los just gave up 1 in the 8th. 6-2 Miami. Bottom of the 8th, and Davis draws the walk.
There you go, walk. Got ahead in the count, 1 and 2. Couldn't put him away.
Dan Jennings.
Yeah, walks out of the bullpen with a lead are not good.
Brings up Herrera with 1 away. It's a good matchup going tonight in Arlington, Texas. The Mariners and the Rangers are tied at 3, 9th inning. Texas is in the picture now once again in the American League. They're 2 games over 500, but they're just 1 back in the wild card race. Blue Jays and the Orioles are the top 2 wild card teams. The Angels are there. Texas. Twins are just a game and a half back. Tampa Bay's under 500, but just 2.5 back of the wild card race. Go figure. Different story in the American League than it is the National. Feels like you got to win 83, 84 games to make it into the wild card race when it all shakes out.
Right.
Can't go 81 and 81, but 83, 84 is about the bottom level that it has been in the wild card era. Especially with 2 wild card teams now.
Won't be this year.
Herrera, shallow center, got jammed a little bit, and Ozuna runs it down. Throw to first. He is late. 2 outs. You might have to win 90 in the National League to make it in the wild card game.
Right.
Both World Series teams were in the wild card game last year. Giants and Royals. Giants won on the road in Pittsburgh behind Madison Bumgarner, and then the Royals won at home against the A's. They beat Leicester. Just get in.
And you never know. Not always the best team throughout the season. It's the hottest team in the postseason.
Brewers are in this rebuild process, acquiring prospects, trading away major league talent. And I think the biggest challenge in all of this is that you're in the toughest division in baseball, the National League Central. Figure the Cubs are here to stay for a while. The Pirates, they've got some longevity. The Cardinals are always there. So you got to prepare for that day when you can win a division. Hopefully it comes sooner than later for Milwaukee. Search is on for a new general manager. You put your name in the hat for that, Ron?
I did not. I'm happy right here.
Just checking. The Brewers have hired a firm to establish Korn Ferry to establish who the candidates are. I just want to make sure you had their
Well, I don't fit the
address.
criteria. Young, analytical.
Those are 2 major strikes against you, Rock.
I'm swimming upstream there.
You are a Wall of Honor member, though.
That's 1 strike.
And you're very funny.
1 strike against me. I don't think that gets you very far in the GM meetings.
I mean, but you'd be great in the season ticket holder and the sponsor gatherings.
Right.
That's really all I'm interested in, because that's the one that I host. So, you know, you and I, we could do our bit.
We have to change it up a little bit.
What, you don't want me just asking trivia questions like when we used to go on the road show? While you stood with
at the tavern of the game,
a Miller Lite in the corner hanging out with your people?
We all have our jobs.
1-2 to Perez. And hit hard left field, but right there is Dietrich. And the inning is over. To the ninth we go. 6-2 Miami. As we go to the ninth inning. And Brewers baseball tonight on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. Kyle Loesch back out there to try to finish it off. Ninth inning, his second inning. Ichiro leads off. Adrian Johnson still barking him out loudly, Rock.
Yep.
He's got his good fastball still going in the ninth. Home plate umpire.
Yep.
Attaboy, AJ.
Consistency, that's what it's all about. Now, Ichiro, the only position player for the Marlins without a hit.
And he has more hits than anyone in his career. Even Ty Cobb. And he will go hitless tonight. Rich Waltz, the fine broadcaster for the Marlins, and our buddy, was telling us a story earlier about Ichiro, and he's a real history buff concerning Major League Baseball. And so he has spent a lot of time at the Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. He's made a number of trips there. I believe he's made 4 trips to Cooperstown. And goes down and looks at all of the artifacts and gets the white gloves out and everything. And he's fascinated by it all. And he said the next time he goes, he's going to go on a Ty Cobb spree and learn about Cobb and get to see some of the cleats that he used, the bats and the records. He just passed Ty Cobb, but Ichiro downplayed it. Said, look, you guys can make what you want of it. But you know, I started my career in Japan. I don't have as many hits as Cobb in the major leagues. That's a different category, even though he has more professional hits than Ty Cobb. Ichiro was very respectful of what Cobb has been able to do. And, of course, Pete Rose.
Man, you love that. I mean, you wish that more players would be more interested in the history of the game, those that played before them. The opportunities that players have are because of the players that were here in the major leagues before they got here. You hope that doesn't get lost as we move along here. Have you been to the Hall of Fame?
I have never been there all these years. Always worked in the game and
been there twice.
In the minor leagues. I would love to go. I'd love to go spend about 3 days there.
It's not easy to get there.
That's part of the fun, though.
Yeah. Good for him.
He'll be there. He'll be in it. He won't just have to go and explore it. One ball, one strike. Boer on the ground. Only infielder over there is Perez. And Los with a scoreless ninth. To the bottom of the ninth. The Brewers need 4. Might as well get 5. They're coming up. To the bottom of the ninth, it's a 4-run Marlins lead, and Dan Jennings, even though it's not a save situation, is going to bring on his closer, A.J. Ramos. Cole Gillespie in left field will tighten up the Marlins defensively. And there's Ramos. Does have 19 saves this year. He's blown 5. Had a save against the Cardinals yesterday, and he'll get the ninth. There's a 4-run lead. Non-save situation.
Yeah, not messing around. Fastball changeup. He's got a slider to go with it. Tops out at about 96.
Shane Peterson will lead off. And then looks like Jeanette will pinch hit next. Brewers need a bunch of base runners. We'll do it again tomorrow night. Brewers Marlins. Game 2 of this 3-game series. Wednesday is a day game. Plan accordingly. Pop up, foul territory. Prado for out number 1. Our Miller Lite, what's on tap? On the air tomorrow at 6:30. Brewers live pregame show. Adam Conley, another lefty against Tyler Cravey. Coincidentally, Cravey will have the Brewers live pre and post game tomorrow. Craig and Davey. There's Cravey.
You're funny tonight.
Then there's Cravey.
Where did all this humor come from?
The silhouettes. I don't know. I think Renee might have put something in the tea tonight. It says it's just simple green tea.
A little darker than that.
Yeah. seems to be, I don't know, she does work at a dentist office. The greatest stage manager of all time, Renee Hoffman.
Speaking of Hall of Fame.
Stage managing Hall of Fame. She'll be the first inductee 5 years after she retires. She's never retiring. There she is.
She tries to hide.
My dad making a cameo in the booth tonight. Paco Dave.
Good to see him.
After another successful night at Potawatomi. Looks like they're going to be building another hotel soon on his back. 0-2 to Jeanette. And there's a base hit. Scooter thinking about two, taking a big turn, and he's on his way. Gillespie's throw is cut off. Jeanette with a one-out double. That's how you do it. Get an at-bat late in the game and a pinch hit appearance. And a double for Scooter Jeanette.
And that's what he's been doing so well as of late. Hitting nearly 300 since his call up from the minor leagues. A large sample size. They had Prado shaded in the hole. But Scooter able to dump it down the line and left, and a one-out double for him.
Here is Segura with 2 hits tonight, 2 out of 4. Best chance the Brewers had tonight was in the 7th inning. 2 on with Braun at the plate. Braun was representing the tying run. He bounced to second base. And that ended the inning. Brewers had a couple of men on base in the 5th inning, and Lynn grounded out. So just 2 runs on 7 hits. Milwaukee stranded 8 in this game. It's gone final in St. Louis. Cardinals beat the Giants 2-1. Rosenthal with his 37th save. And Arizona beat the Pirates, so the Cardinals are now up 6 games in the division. They're still playing in Arlington. 3-3 game Mariners Rangers. Rangers have the bases loaded with 1 out in the 9th. They're also tied in New York tonight, Yankee Stadium. Twins Yankees are tied at 7 in the 9th. Got some games coming to the end there with contending teams. A swing and a miss. Foul tip right into the middle of the catcher. And a strikeout for Ramos. 2 outs in the inning.
Yeah, good breaking ball that time. Man, it was more like a curveball and a slider. And Segura over the top of it. Yeah, good breaker straight down, and Segura a strikeout victim.
And Lucroy trying to keep the game alive here. Brewers down 4, 2 outs, 9th inning. Not much hope. And a strike. 1-1 to count. That breaking ball from Ramos.
And just to get over a breaking pitch on a 1-0 count. You don't figure you're going to see that. Not the same pitch that he struck Segura out with. I'm a little bit flatter.
Another one in there. Rangers just won on a walk-off walk, by the way. Beating the Mariners 4-3, keeping their hopes alive. A couple of former Brewers there, Fielder and Gallardo. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Brewers down to their last strike. And Lucroy on the ground. Echeverria, long throw, and it is in time. Man, what a play. They may take a look at this.
Yeah, I think Craig Counsell is on his way out, and
might as well challenge here.
Yeah, what do you got to lose, right?
It's the last out of the game is called on the field. This was an impressive play by Echeverria.
Yeah, look at the throwing arm, off balance, going toward third. Yeah, that's going to be close.
So we're about to have a game possibly end on a replay. I don't think so. I think it's going to stand.
Yeah,
it's too close. I don't know if there's enough there to overturn it.
Yeah, well,
let's see here. This will be a good look. Yeah, it's in the glove. Foot's not on the bag. Lucroy was gunning for it. He was stretching it out.
Well, that's a heck of a play by Echeverria. I mean, not many shortstops able to make that throw off balance. Put that much on it, put it right on the money. And we'll see what they decide in New York. The question is the heel on the base before the toe, and is it down before the ball is in the glove? Watch the heel. Well, I'll tell you, I don't know if there's enough to reverse that.
I can't see it. As much as Lucroy wants it, they do not overturn these bang bang calls like that. We're talking inches with the length of the spike, maybe. So Bill Miller is the crew chief, also the calling umpire. He'll be the one making the call, number 26 there. And out is the call, and the game is over. The Marlins delay the handshakes, but handshakes nonetheless. Marlins win the opener. 6-2 the final score. Nicolino beats Garza here tonight. Back at it tomorrow, game 2 of the series. We got Brewers Live coming your way right now. Craig Kashawn, Davey Nelson will take you the rest of the way. Guys, take it away.
Okay, BA, tough night for Garza on the